Welcome back to the ideamarketers.tv Marketing Makeover Show. In this episode, Laura West of JoyfulBusiness.com joins us to walk Martina through some creative ideas to make her sales page grab and maintain her readers' interest. Laura is an award-winning entrepreneur and the President and Chief Creative Officer of the Center for Joyful Business. As a certified business coach, author, and speaker, she specializes in supporting creative lifestyle entrepreneurs in crafting a successful business that is holistically joyful. It's meaningful, makes money, and allows entrepreneurs to enjoy lives they love.
Okay, great. Hey, Martina.
Hi, Laura.
Well, I got a copy of your sales page that you sent over and your draft, right?
Yeah. They're hard to write.
That's all right. They are hard. You have to start somewhere. So it's perfect. You just put a bunch of stuff down, and we have a lot to work with. So this is how it starts. It doesn't start out like where you don't sit down and write a perfect sales page all in one go. So you're absolutely on track. All right. So as we get started, I want to ask you a couple of questions, and then we'll get into like the nitty-gritty of the sales page. Tell me a little bit about this program, kind of in your own words. I've read your sales page, what you've written so far. Just kind of give me the essence. Like if you were just kind of giving me a high-level overview, what would you say about it?
Well, what did I say it was? It's 7 weeks, right? So it basically just goes through helping people to understand their worth, and that their self-worth and their actions are not the same thing. So sometimes even when you make a mistake, you can move beyond it because you know who you are deep down. And so then there's steps to like loving yourself. We go through some phases to change, or I've called it phases of healing, but really it's kind of the phases you go through to have everlasting change in your life. And then just understanding thoughts and choices and how they affect our outward life. Then also just giving some really practical tools when the fog sets in. So when that darkness, when it comes upon you, some tools to actually get out of it instead of sitting in it for a long time and letting it get to you.
Right. So. Okay, great. That was all really great information. I'm glad you're recording this morning because none of that was on your sales page.
Yeah.
So really good stuff to be able to add. So tell me about who would be, I want you to imagine the perfect person coming to your page, who is just right for your program, and you would love to work with them. So how would you describe them?
It would be someone who is like trying to live a good life, who wants things better or wants to do things better, but just feels trapped or stuck in whether it's patterns or just stuck in the depression and they don't know how to get out of it. But they want something different, and they know it's kind of like they see the light at the tunnel, but they have no idea how to get out. They're just stuck in there. Like where they're going along, they're trying to be good, and they kind of have those like private demons. Like at home, maybe when they're alone, that's when the depression or self-harm or addictions or even just thoughts, suicidal thoughts, something like that would kind of kick in. So
yeah, this is all great.
Definitely women.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So that is women. You want women. Are they typically a certain age or?
They can be younger, but it's more of a state of mind that they have to be in. If they're not wanting the change or they don't see that light, and they're just kind of stuck in there, they're not going to be able to pull themselves out until they want something different. So, I've met, and this is why sometimes it can be younger women who, kind of hit rock bottom at an earlier age, or it could be someone in their 40s and 50s who have just, gotten to a point where they are ready to give in, so.
Okay, good. So one of the things I want you to do that as you are working on your sales page, before you do anything else, I really want you to call to mind and imagine the perfect person landing on your page on your website, okay? So that when you're tweaking and adding things that we're going to talk about, that you're actually doing it for that person. That you're not writing a sales page to convince somebody to do something. You're actually writing this for that person and just imagining how they're going to feel when they come to your page.
Okay.
All right. So that's my next question, and then we'll go into kind of the nitty-gritty ideas. But then, how do you want them to feel when they come to your page? So imagine this ideal person, and they land on your page, and what are they experiencing? Tell me, are they feeling that glimmer of hope? Are they feeling connection to you?
Yeah. They're, I want them to, or I'm hoping, but I want them to feel like, there's somebody else out there that knows what I'm feeling. Like, I'm not alone. I don't want them to feel alone. And I also want them to feel hope that there is a way out of it, or there's a possibility to be happy and not to have life be that same way all the time.
And what about their, as they read your story? Because you share, your personal journey on there, and, I really you want them to feel the hope, feel the sense of, do they need to feel a sense of trust? Because for someone to sign up for a 7-week teleclass, they're going to need to, I'm imagining, they're going to really need to feel that sense of trust. Like, I can really trust this woman. I think she could really help me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's big. In fact, that's one of the very first things on the very first call that I've already thought about doing is it's got to be a very safe and trusting environment. So, there's got to be things addressed right at the beginning to let them know that what stays in the calls, what's said in the calls will stay there, that there's no judgments. There's just, this is a place of love and healing. And because I've thought about that. I mean, there's nothing worse than opening up and sharing things and then feeling judged or put down.
Yeah, that's going to be so important. If people are going to see something on your page and they're going to want to take the next step, it's going to be critical in this program. You're going to need for them already right on the page immediately to feel that sense of trust and to really get this is going to be a confidential, intimate, small group. And it's going to be like a safe spot for them.
Okay. I'm taking notes. That's why I'm looking down.
Yeah, no, that's good. How will people find this page? Will they have already been on your list and they'll get your newsletter and then you're going to introduce this so they're already familiar with you and then they're coming to your page? Search engine, because how they land, what their experience is with you, what the relationship is with you will matter on the kinds of things we're going to put on your page.
Yeah. Gosh, Marnie, I think we've done some keyword searches, when people are just Googling it. We've also talked about doing, some Facebook promotion, but some really great pictures, kind of how people share the pictures. If I could find some pretty yeah, kind of so if I, some powerful pictures and then underneath say something like who you are is not what you've done.
Great.
We also talked about doing some kind of little video.
I'd say a lot of people are going to come from me just introducing them to you too, because I'll be promoting it to my list. Yeah. So it'll be like a recommendation coming from me.
Okay. All right. So there's a bit of a transfer of trust there too. So some people could be coming brand new and they may not know you. So that's part of what I wanted to hear. So even if they're coming from Marnie, they're going to trust Marnie's recommendation, but they're also going to pretty quickly need to feel like, who is this person? Who's Martina? Why should I trust her? So we're going to want to add something about that.
I have a lot of birth mom connections and stuff too, just from over the years. So as I, can put it out to all of them. And all of my, the groups that I'm a part of. And
okay, good. All right. Well, are you ready to dive in?
Yeah. I'm just going to write this last little piece down.
Okay. And I wanted to ask all these questions because they matter. They shape what you need to put on your page and what you can leave out. If they're, especially for an experience like this that is going to be so intimate and people are going to have to really be vulnerable for it to work. And they're really going to have to trust you. And you want all those feelings to be communicated pretty quickly on the page. So you don't want it to feel like you're hawking a product, or anyway selling some sort of product, they really have to feel not like they're being sold, but like they're feeling welcomed, like they've found a home. Like, oh my gosh, I found a community, I found a home. And so you're going to want to just communicate that through, some of it's through your words and your stories. But, people are so in such a hurry these days, they'll click off your page really quick. So some of it can be done through the photos. I love that idea of the photos with maybe the healing affirmations on them. And you could actually create a couple of those and weave those into your sales page, as you go down through your page. And then they see these things are kind of, maybe on the side or in the middle, and they're going to feel the power of that, right? And they're really going to get a sense of the types of tools that you're going to be sharing with them. Right?
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah. Do you have? I can't remember if you have a copy of my sales page checklist that.
Yes, that was awesome.
Okay. Yeah, because that'll be a really good thing to pull out and just start seeing what are some of the things you can add in. Because some of it's copy, but a lot of it is the way you lay out your page to make it really easy. And for you, I think it's going to be some photos and, just some things to pretty it up a little bit so that people will feel this sense of like they're relaxing into it. All right, so we'll talk about this. So I'm going to talk about the layout of the sales page first, and then we can come in and talk a little bit more like about your headline on the copywriting, okay? What I would suggest, the very beginning, you're going to have your photo, because when people land on that, and if they see, your powerful headline, where you're automatically, they're either going to be, yes, I'm really interested, or no, that's not me, but they're going to want to see a photo of you. So that it's, they know who you're talking, they know who is speaking to them, and when you say, I felt like this too, they need to know who that is, who is I, right. And so you have, the picture of Martina and, who you are, and, it might be, you have your professional, like under your photo, you might have, your professional title, but you also might have, mother, just a couple little things about you that, so people can relate, like, okay, she's a mom too, or she's a mompreneur, or, whatever you might do, skydiver, whatever the things are, a creative cook, or, just some things that make you real, that make you, that help you be even more approachable, and they feel a connection with you because they're getting ready to go really, dive deep into your story, but it's kind of like, well, who is this person? So they're going to want to see a photo of you. It could be and you also throughout, I can see an opportunity for more photos of, if you're willing to put a photo of you and your family, or you and a pet, or you doing some, exciting adventures in your life, as you get further into the sales page, like to give them hope. Like, I used to feel like this is my story, and I'm feeling, look at what I'm doing now. I cook these amazing creations, or, kind of like whatever some of your hobbies are, or here's me with a kid in Disney World, or, because sometimes you say you can use the words where you want to create hope, but when you show the pictures, that speaks, that just speaks, the 1,000 words, and it's like, wow, if she could do that, and she could really, she's been where I am, and now she's taken her family to Disney World, for example, that speaks a lot. That's going to give them hope in a different way.
Well, some of those Hawaii pictures or something.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So you need to. So when you're going, what you're trying to do is you're touching their pain, and you're letting them know that you have a solution, and you're giving them hope. Okay, and so your hope is going to be because you've gone through it before, and here's where your life is now, and you've put all this into a teleclass, and you want to offer that.
Okay.
It might even be interesting. I don't know how much graphic capabilities you have, or if you're working with a graphic person, but it could be interesting to even have your personal story, maybe in a block of some sort with a nice little background, so it almost looks like a letter, or maybe it looks like a journal entry, or something that, because you're sharing this deep personal story, but yet it can be a lot of copy, right? And you're going to lose people if it's too much reading or if it's hard to read, just because it's a lot. But they're going to, but it could stand out really easily if you could just even make it like it's a little journal entry, or the part about where you got this message from God, you heard these words, that might be an interesting piece to handwrite and put it on there. So it's kind of interesting, because on one hand we want to do the copywriting stuff, but on the other hand, just these simple layout type things will make it more interesting and keep people engaged, and it'll keep them going down your page. So it'll keep them reading. And what we want to do is we want to get them engaged with the story, but we also want to give them hope pretty quickly. All right? Let me just check. Is that making sense?
Yeah, I love it.
Okay. You also had the picture of the cave. I would move that picture up towards the top, because at the top is where you're talking about the cave. You're kind of talking about, being in that deep, dark place. And so you want that photo there. And then you can start, further down, you'll put like your Hawaii pictures, and you can put some of the hope pictures. As far as the questions that you add at the beginning, because you have 3 very powerful questions about, are you feeling broken and lost? I mean, they're really deep questions, and so you're going to attract the people who feel broken and lost. But you also need a question that says, do you wish there was a change, or some sort of question that's going to pull them into but you want it to be different, or do you wish? I don't want to say, do you wish there was a solution? Do you want to find a better way of saying this, like an infomercial? Are you ready for it to be different, but you don't know how? Something like that. And so you want some sort of question so that you're not just getting people who feel depressed, but they're not taking action. They're not at that point where they want to commit to taking action. You know what I mean? So you said that you really want the people who, yes, they resonate with that, but they also want it to be different. Because otherwise, they're not going to sign up for your teleclass if they don't want it to be different.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, telling your story, I think is wonderful. I mean, it's beautiful. I think it's very compelling. And any ways that you can make it into some smaller paragraphs. And I know in school we were always taught 3 to 5 sentences in a paragraph, but now it's almost like one sentence. 1 sentence, 2 sentences. People, they really do want shorter, so that it's, especially when they're reading on, they're reading on iPads, they're reading on phones, they're reading on computers. And so you don't want to have huge blocks of copy. Okay?
I'm with you. I hate really wordy, long sales copy.
Right.
I'm all about
even just shortening the paragraphs up. Yeah. And again, I think if you could put your story, even if you put it in like a box with a gray background or a tan background or something, that just sort of set it off as, and say, here's my story, I've been there, here's my story, and they get your story. And then afterward, you can talk about, your journey to healing. Yeah, and then where you say, you want to find your way into the loving, warm light, that's a great place for one of those inspirational photos we talked about. Don't be afraid to add more photos than you think. It'll make your sales page a lot longer, but it will break up the copy. It'll communicate this lightness and the sense of hope that just mere words can't communicate.
Yeah.
And then, you can even do something where you have the bullet points where you say, instead of cursing my existence, I now rejoice in everyday experiences. And you might be able to look how you could break that list up. You could have one on the left side, and then you could have your new, how I now experience it on the right side. Or you could have, one's in black type, instead of cursing my existence, ... and then underneath, maybe in blue, it's now I rejoice in the everyday experiences. So it looks, so they can see the shift, because by communicating different colors or a shift on the page, you're communicating the shift. And so when they get that shift, they're going to be excited, like they already are going to feel better, reading those stories, seeing the affirmations. And then you want to say, I put this together and I'm introducing this into this program. Right now you have that part in a paragraph. It says, in my, who you are is not what you've done telecoaching program. You really want to set that out as more of a title. All right? You don't want to bury it in a paragraph. Okay? Because it's just too much for people to absorb, on the computer in a paragraph. And then you can say underneath that, you'll discover how to do all this and more. I'm going to share the steps. What I'd love to see is your 7 weeks, maybe broken down by themes.
Okay.
And, if you have, like theme 1, or week 1, and, what the theme is, creating safety and a sense of, a non-judgmental community. I'm just, making this up. But,
yeah, I actually have all those already, so that would be easy to add. Yeah.
Okay, great. So you have a lot of it already, and so people like to see that. If you just kind of put, week 1, we're going to do this, week 2, and then you give them a preview of, what they can expect, and that's going to take it really far. Obviously you want to put the pricing in there. You want to make sure you have your deadlines. So I'm sure you'll work with Marnie on creating what your launch is going to be, but you're going to want to have, the deadlines to sign up.
The call to action almost.
Yeah, it's the call to action,
deadline.
And also it's what I call that authentic urgency. Why do they need to sign up right now? So something about, don't let another day go by without having some sort of help. You don't have to do this alone. We start August 1st. Sign up now. A little bit of, not flashing light sign up now, but really calling them into, is today the day you're going to make the change? All right, and making sure you have that, what I call authentic urgency. So, you need to let them know when the deadline is to sign up. Okay? You may also, just depending on how you're structuring all this, you may want to invite them to email you if they have a question or to set up a short call. Because I'm just thinking people might, this is pretty big for them to come from this place and take action. For putting that down and ensure, and then to take action and commit to a 7-week program that they may or may not know a lot about. They may want to have a few words with you. And have a quickie call with you. And I find more and more people are wanting to do that. We used to be able to put a lot of stuff online and people could join. But, so you may want to offer that option. Do you still have questions? Would you like to schedule a 20-minute call with, Martina to see if this is the right program for you? So that way you don't lose people automatically on your sales page just because they're feeling unsure and you won't ever know it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
And you can do it the way you want, an email or a 20-minute call or, think about how you might want to invite them to do that. Okay. You might want to put that towards the end. So that way you already have the sign-up information. You already have all the program information, places for them to sign up. And then towards the end say, are you really curious about this, but maybe you're still a little unsure? Don't let this day go away. Go ahead and email me and we can set up something to talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, gave you a lot there.
No, this was good. This is like,
good.
Yeah. This is going to unleash my creativity a little bit more, so I like that.
Good. Yeah.
You give me some really creative ideas.
Yes. And you know what? That will go so far. It's like the traditional sales page of the past. That used to work, when that was the only thing we knew. But now it's, you've got to catch people's attention. You've got to catch their emotion and really get them engaged in your pages and compelled. And so to me, it's you are actually creating an experience for them on your page, and they're going to you want them to have a taste and a feel of an experience of, similar to what it'll be like when they're on your teleclass. And you can do that easily through graphics or even adding a little video so they hear your voice, since it's going to be on teleclasses. That's not a bad idea too, is to have like a little personal welcome that says, if you in this situation, I would love for you to join me. A little video would go really far because they would hear your voice and how, soothing it is, and how that creates a sense of safety as well. You want me to stop now?
Do you have recommendations for her on colors? Are there better colors than others, or?
I'm not the person to ask if there's better colors than others as far as, what do people react to, or, from a researchy thing. I'm more about, what are the colors that are going to resonate for the type of women that you want to show up. And, and also that reflect your brand and your personality, So if you're kind of I would think a little bit more feminine colors, because you are talking to women and you do want this to be a little more creative and have the photos and the affirmations, healing affirmations, and things like that. So I would go with some colors, and pick usually 3 colors, and then your black type works really good. You don't want to have too many colors. And then depending on what your style is, if it's more of a softer look, with some of the lighter pastels, or if you're more of, I'm more of those joyful, brighter colors. I tend to do more kind of orangey, things like that. One of the things, a simple thing that I like to do is look at the photo that you're going to use at the top, the photo of you, and, what is your color palette? So if your color palette is, mine, I tend to work with kind of the golds and oranges and some greens, because it'll look good with my photos as they show up throughout the page. So you want things that are going to complement you, as well as communicate the safety, the trust, and that this is the start of a new life for them.
Cool.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Violet.
Yeah, purple's going to be in there somewhere. That's just, I can't do anything, I don't think, without some form of purple.
Well, and that's perfect. I mean, and purple, all the colors, they all communicate something. So, I mean, purple communicates a lot of intuition, emotion. It's a very alive color, and yet it can also be a softer color, or it can be more vibrant, depending on how you use it. So that's great. Doing some blues and, something to go with the purple. If that's going to be your main, then you can do something like bringing in blues, and then maybe bringing in something that, is across the color wheel from the purple. It might be kind of a gold or something to give that little pop. Yeah. And don't
You actually just nailed it. I usually like a purple, kind of a turquoisey, or, little that kind of hue of blue, and
right.
Like you said, kind of an orange, not because yellow doesn't work, so it's kind of that goldy yellow.
Right. Exactly.
Those are kind of the 3 colors that I pattern usually.
Okay. Yeah. So you get to do the same thing, but bring that in here. And even doing a simple thing, one of the very, very simple things that I love to do to make your sales page pop is, when you have a border around it, is even just shade the border, have some sort of shading around the border, or a color that's in the back, behind, kind of on the sides of the border. It'll just make your page kind of pop out. Not pop out from you're in a super high creative thing, but it could even just give it a little more depth for this rich environment that you're trying to create.
Okay.
And then, don't be afraid to use bullet points and separate things with some borders, things. So that, again, you want to make it easy to read, because you are taking them through the equivalent of a conversation. Imagine if you were having a conversation online with them, or a conversation in person with them. You would actually be talking to them about, you'd bond over the mutual experience, you would share your story, you would talk to them about how your life has changed and what you've done. Then you give them information about the teleclass. An hour conversation is about 25 pages on a sales page, actually. So don't be afraid that it's going to be long. It's much better for you to break it up and make it easier to read. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
And visually pleasing.
Exactly. Yeah. Any other questions you have, or anything you have for me?
Nope. I have a lot of ideas going through my head. I wouldn't mind having you take a look at it after I add a bunch of this stuff in. just give me what you.
Yeah, go ahead and do that, and you'll get your sales page to the next place. Where you just need some tweaks. So I'm happy to do that.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Join us in our next episode as Laura creates a visual map of Martina's business.